Good evening, sports fans. How are you tonight? This is Pastor Len Finley. You are talking live sports with the pastor tonight. This is going to be a very short show. I just want to throw a couple of things out there. Sorry for the glare of my glasses. Usually, we're not doing these during the day. We're doing them at night. We're doing them during the day. So we're working out some kinks here tonight. So welcome. If you're subscribing to us and your notifications are on, then you know right now that we are live here at the pastor's house. Real quick, what I want to talk about tonight is I want to issue a challenge from a fairly recent YouTube sensation. That would be this guy right here, to a ESPN legend. And I am talking directly to you, Stephen A. Smith. You and I need to talk. We have a lot of things that are very similar, a lot of likes and dislikes, both Steeler fans, but have very different ideas on the state of this ball club. So we need to get together and chat, whether it be over the internet or if you invite me to Bristol, I would be glad to come up there and lay a whooping on you. Verbally, that is. I have a lot of respect for you. I've loved you for a long time, Stephen A. Just there's a few things that you and I don't agree on, and I'd like to talk some Pittsburgh Steelers with you. But to give you an update on what's going on sports-wise, the Pirates are still kind of doing what they're doing, which is embarrassing the city of Pittsburgh. So we're still waiting for stuff that their pitching staff is getting healthy. That's the big news headline. And when their pitching staff is healthy, they approach mediocrity. And that's about all that we can hope for. Steelers are still in that kind of waiting area, waiting for training camp. Penguins are talking about doing some stuff here. The NHL draft's coming up. So there isn't a whole lot to talk about. But if you want to get on here in the few minutes I'm going to be here with you tonight, just jump on and comment. And I can see the comments in the bottom of my screen here. Just stop by and say hello. I'd be very interested to see you and talk to you. But I want to welcome back to the Talking Sports with the Pastor, my technical advisor who was away for a few days. Brandon's back with us. So I want to give a shout out to him. I want to give a shout out to my other son too, Zach. He's they're both big parts of my life, and I couldn't do this show without their support. So, but let me know if you're out there tonight. Let me know if you're checking us out live. Let me know if you have any questions or you want to talk about anything specific. We do have the Johnstown Tomahawks in the off season right now. They'll be getting ready for the start of training camp here in just a couple of months. New young kids coming into town. That'll be exciting for you motorcycle enthusiasts. Of course, Thunder in the Valley happens here in Johnstown this weekend. Tell me if you're coming into town for that, because that'll be an interesting time. For my Johnstown friends, let me get into a very specific topic, and that is, I guess we're now calling it Sargent's Stadium. I affectionately know it as the Point, and I think everybody else will be calling it the Point for the rest of our lives. They have done some updates to the Point over the last 10 years. It is a beautiful ballpark now. It really is a spectacle when you go to the amateur baseball tournament, the AAABA, that'll be starting here in August. It's a great stadium to watch a baseball game in. Would you like to see another minor league baseball team in town? We had, when I was growing up, it was the Johnstown Steel, and then the Johnstown Johnnies for a few years. But we haven't had a team in quite a while, and I think now we are almost, I think, ready for another team. I think this town would support one. We see that it does support the Johnstown Tomahawks. I see Brandon's joining us. So hi, Brandon. How you doing? Shout out to you. So are you ready for another baseball team? I know I am. There were some rumors a couple of years ago that we might get a minor league baseball team. I think it's something, like I said, that this city would support. It does really well with the Tomahawks. I know we're a hockey town, but we have a very nice stadium down at the Point that I think really needs to be used more than what it is. I can remember as a kid going to the AAABA games, and it was always Coke versus Pepsi was the big thing then. It was the big rivalry, not only in the soft drink wars, but also in the AAABA. I'm trying to tilt my head so that you're not getting too much of a glare tonight, but having a little bit of a challenge here. So tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about the naming rights going on here in Johnstown. We have First Summit Arena now. And I don't know anybody who's going to be calling it First Summit Arena. To me, it will always be the Cambria County War Memorial. I like to honor the veterans. Okay. I like to honor our veterans all the time when we're talking about the arenas. So tell me what you think about that, because it's something that I think we ought to continue to do. Is just honor our veterans when they're, the whole arena is about the war memorial, and there are stuff in there to see about the our war veterans. So I'm kind of troubled that we're selling the naming rights for that. I understand the money part of it, but we got to be able to keep the war memorial in there somewhere, because that's how everybody kind of knows that place. And it's we lose enough nostalgia in this area without having to give it any help. So tell me what you think about that. These are for my Johnstown people, of course. But what do you want to talk about tonight? If there's something you want to talk about, jump on with me. Let me know what you want to talk about. We'll talk about what's going on in the world of sports with the Pirates. Tigers beat the Pirates yesterday 5-4. The Tigers are not a very good ball club, so that kind of tells you where the Pirates are at. In the last 10 games, the Pirates are now 3-7. That's not very impressive. So we're struggling a little bit there. Moving over to the Steelers. Big news right now. Big Ben says he is happy that the Steelers have returned to normalcy after the recent drama. So we'll see how long that lasts. And of course, the other news is Dante Moncrief has been looking really good in the OTAs. So it'll be exciting to see where they go as far as training camp. And we'll be doing daily updates about training camp and what is in the news and what we're seeing. The Penguins are in the off season, of course, right now. Penguins GM said recently about the Ole Mata trade that it was either going to be Johnson or Mata that was going to go. One of the two had to go, and he just felt like Jack Johnson was a better fit for this club. So what do you think about that? Are you sad to lose Ole Mata? Did you want to see Ole Mata stick around? There's a ton of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff going on. I know that we're kind of in the summer right now, so really baseball's king. The Altoona Curve, I haven't really been following them much, so I don't know exactly where they're at right now, but I will check that out while we're on here tonight. I can tell you, if you get a chance to go over to Altoona, this is again for my friends in Johnstown, the surrounding area. If you get a chance to go over to the ballpark over in Altoona, it is a wonderful, wonderful experience. So make sure that you get over there to see them. It's an exciting place to watch a baseball game, an exciting place to watch an exciting team. Altoona won 3-1 today, so that's a good thing, and we'll see where they're at in the standings here. If anybody knows, just jump on here and let me know while I'm looking this up. I don't believe in dead air, but I'm trying to do multiple things at one time here for you. So, again, tell me what you think. Jump on here on the text line. It's 814-659-9141. Text your questions in. Just let me know what's on your mind tonight. Let's get a chat going. Let's get the old fireside chat going tonight. See what we can talk about and see what might be happening in your life as far as the sports world goes. What are you thinking about? What's the main thing on your mind tonight? Again, that number on the text line is 814-659-9141. Like I said, we're kind of in a dead spot right now with the baseball season being king, but in just, I think I said this in our last podcast, we are only about a month away from the Steelers being in camp, and then they're only in camp for a couple weeks, and then we have that first preseason game. I can remember going to Latrobe to St. Vincent College when I was a young man. Went with my dad. And it seemed like, and maybe it was just because I was younger, but it seemed like training camp was a lot longer back then. No, they didn't have the OTAs. They didn't have the off-season workouts, and the guys need a little bit extra time to get into shape. But it seemed like they were in camp for 3 or 4 weeks before we were even considering having any kind of games. Now it's like a week or two, and we're getting into the preseason already. That's a topic we haven't discussed. Roger Goodell wants to make an 18-game season and reduce the preseason to 2 games. What are your thoughts on that? Do we need the preseason? Do we need to have preseason games? Do we need do we need to have 18 regular season games? Because the first thing that comes to my mind is the idea that Roger Goodell wants to try to make money. I've seen the preseason games. I've seen the stadium. It's not full. They don't charge as much for the preseason games, and I think this is just another way for Roger Goodell to dip his hand into the money jar and make more money. Because in the same breath that he talks about an 18-game schedule, he talks about player safety. Is it safe going to 18 games? There was a big debate many years ago when it was went from 14 games to 16 games. They actually expanded the rosters to go to 16 games because it just wasn't as safe. So what's on your mind about that tonight? Do you like the preseason? Do you not like the preseason? Obviously, you need at least a couple of games to get the guys tuned up. Do you need 4? I remember years ago, your starters would go a quarter, then 2 quarters, and then 3 quarters in the preseason. And then that last game, they would go 1 series and get out. Now it seems like the starters are barely playing at all, and it's basically a tryout for the second and third string guys. So, what's your thoughts on that? Get on the sports line here with Talking Sports with the Pastor and let me know what your thoughts are on that. Again, the text line is 814-659-9141. Brandon wants to know if we're going to talk about golf and bowling or only Pittsburgh pro sports. If you want to talk some golf and bowling, I am more than willing to talk about that. In the world of golf, we just had the U.S. Open, and it was a very surprising finish there. And bowling is a very interesting sport if you are into it right now. What is your thoughts on the two-handers versus the one-handers? Jason Belmonte, if you're not familiar with him, he is a two-handed bowler from down under in Australia. He is very, very successful. He is about to set the record for majors won in a career, and he's still a very, very young man. Does it give them an unfair advantage? Is it all about having a ball and trying to knock pins down, and however you can do it is up to you? Or should it be just a one-handed kind of thing, and you should put the two-handed bowlers in a different league? What's your thoughts on that? If my bowling friends are out there, you may have some thoughts on that. We just had Tiger a couple of months ago win the Masters again. Are you excited about that? Are you excited to see him back playing championship golf again? I know I am. I am one of those guys that I have always thought that if Tiger is in a tournament, there's more people that are going to watch. It's just kind of the way it is. He brings people to the game. So I understand what happens outside the ropes. A lot of people don't like. A lot of people don't like some of the stuff that's happened in his personal life. I can't say as a pastor that I like what's going on in his personal life, but I am also not here to judge anyone. So what are your thoughts on Tiger? Are you happy that he's back? Are you happy that he's playing at this kind of level again? Do you see him breaking Jack Nicklaus's record for majors? I thought it was a foregone conclusion about 10 years ago, but since he's had his struggles and he's getting older now, I'm kind of on the other side of that argument now. I do not think it's going to happen. I think Jack Nicklaus will hold on to that record for a very, very, very long time. If it's ever broken, it may not be broken in my lifetime, and that's kind of okay with me. I like the records. I like the feats, the stats. So I'm kind of okay with if Tiger doesn't break that record. The other records we want to talk about. This has been on my mind a lot lately. Is the we're of course I think are kind of out of and closed the book on the steroid era in baseball. Now there are significant penalties for those who get caught using steroids and human growth hormones and everything in baseball. However, there are a lot of records that fell during the steroid era. Are you okay with those records standing? Baseball is one of those very unique sports that a lot of people are not okay if some of those records are broken in the ways that they were broken. I can remember very fondly the days of Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Jose Canseco, all these guys just hitting home run after home run after home run. It was some of the best home run derbies in the All-Star game were with those guys. But when you start breaking records, and of course Barry Bonds is another one. He's one that causes a lot of controversy. Should they be in the Hall of Fame? Should these guys have a place in Cooperstown? I'm not sure. I really have not come down on this topic yet. Still thinking, I think the longer it goes, the better the chance they have to get in. But I think a lot of it is going to be about how they treated the media. And is that right? Is that right? Should it be a popularity contest within the people that have a vote for Cooperstown? We know that the Cooperstown is lucky if they let in one or two guys per year. You look at the equal thing in football, which is the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and they let in anywhere between, I think it's 5 to 7 per year, and they go to the Veterans Committee and they go to contributors and if you've been to Canton, Ohio, which I have been, I've seen the Hall of Fame several times and once recently, and it's a beautiful place to visit. I've not been to Cooperstown yet, so I really can't speak to that. But if that's something you want to talk about tonight, get on the fan text line at 814-659-9141. Text me with your questions, or just jump in the comment section here, and you can comment and ask questions right on the podcast. So, what are your thoughts tonight? Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you want to hear about. Anything's open. We're going to be on here for another minute or two, and then we're going to close out for the night. But I know I have a lot of fun with this podcast. If you get this podcast, please like and subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you know when we're going live, so that we can have some nice live chats here as we get into to football season. College football will be starting soon. What are your thoughts on the local college teams? On Penn State, I saw they were hosting another 4-star recruit here recently. What are your thoughts on Pitt? They have some new uniforms this year, going back to kind of that the Dan Marino and Tony Dorsett kind of gold and blue. What are your thoughts on West Virginia? West Virginia has a new coach this year. Dana Holgerson is gone now. Haven't seen a whole lot with the new coach, so that'll be interesting to see where they're going to be going as far as a ball club this year. Kind of an interesting thing down in Morgantown. If you look at the demographics of the Big 12, West Virginia is kind of an odd fit in that conference. And the reason I say that isn't because of the quality of football. West Virginia is a very, very good football team. The reason I say that is just from the demographic standpoint, they are way far away from a lot of the teams in the Big 12. Anytime they travel for a road game, they're traveling a significant distance. This realignment of the college conferences has really caused a problem for the map drawers, if you know what I mean. They just they have a hard time making things work as far as the demographics go. Pitt jumping to the ACC, I think, has been a good move for them. It's going to start paying off here very soon. I think Pitt's kind of getting their legs under them as far as the football program, and of course now with the basketball program, I think they're going to be a powerhouse again in the very near future. Penn State, of course, in the Big Ten, we're kind of used to them being in the Big Ten now. Does the Big Ten have enough to get into the bowl picture, to get into the national championship picture? Ohio State's been dominant, but after Ohio State and Michigan, it kind of gets a little weak. Penn State's been there, but the Big Ten is one of those conferences that's very top heavy. Brandon wants to know, do you think the backyard brawl is too far out to make predictions? I do, only because I think the next one is 2022. So that we're talking 3 years, and a lot of the kids that are just starting this year will be seniors, or they'll be upperclassmen or out of the program when the next one comes. So I think it's a little too early to tell with the new coach coming on board for West Virginia. Will Pat Narduzzi stick around that long for Pitt? We certainly hope so. But what do you think of the job Pat Narduzzi's doing over at the University of Pittsburgh? I like where he's going with this club. I think he needs some help on the offensive side, but I think it's coming around. They play an exciting brand of football, and we'll see. We're now getting into that third and fourth year with Pat Narduzzi. A lot of people are too quick to pull the trigger on coaches now, but I give Pitt a lot of credit. They've been patient with Pat Narduzzi, but this is now the time where that's going to have to start paying off. It's going to have to start showing in wins and bowl wins, and significant bowl wins. It's nice to go to a bowl game. It's nice to get these kids to a bowl game, but it's necessary to get them at least a sniff of a championship. Now, they went to the ACC championship last year. Many people would say that in that game, they were significant underdogs, and they kind of backed their way into that game. But they had a puncher's chance, and then they just didn't come up with the win in the ACC championship. But, they're a young team, and they can build on those successes. We're going to see West Virginia is going to be a very young team. We actually have a guy right here from Johnstown, went to Johnstown High. He is playing linebacker over at West Virginia, and he'll be, I believe, a junior this year. That's X-Ray Low. So keep an eye out on X-Ray Low for the West Virginia Mountaineers this year. I will have an extra eye on the West Virginia Mountaineers since my technical advisor, Brandon, will be a freshman down there this year. Studying aerospace engineering, so I'll have an extra eye on the Mountaineers this year just to see how they make out. But it's been great being with you tonight. We're hitting about the 25-minute mark on the podcast, so this is where I usually like to shut it down. But like and subscribe to the channel. This is Talking Sports with the Pastor. Remember that text line when we go live is 814-659-9141. You can text with any questions or comments on the podcast. Things you think we can do better. This is a show for all of us, so we want to make sure that it's something that is appealing to everybody. So drop me a line. Drop me a note here in the comment sections on the video. to let me know what you think. It has been great being with you tonight. Thank you for being patient with us and trying to figure some things out here. And we will see you next time on Talking Sports with the Pastor. Good night, everybody.